Hi, Beck and Kristen here. And today we were going to kind of talk about a sad topic, but it's one that we find might be helpful for people that have never been through this. And this is how to properly, set up a euthanasia and go through a euthanasia with your horse in the United States.
One for where you know it's going to happen. It's not something where something happens and it's very sudden, because you can't really set up for that. So preparing for it and making that determination and deciding that is probably the biggest and hardest step.
Yeah.
Because, we we love these animals, we really care for them, and, we want them to live forever and be with us forever. But unfortunately, that just isn't a possibility. And you've probably heard it a lot throughout time if you have animals in general, but a day too soon is better than a day too late.
And we're going to discuss, kind of like conversations with your vet on quality of life, and then go through the process of, setting a date, what happens during the euthanasia, as well as different euthanasia options that people might have, and then what happens after the euthanasia, and also how your barn manager / trainer or friends can also help you through that process too, because
you can help
somebody else. And and what to expect. So like Beck said, there's two different scenarios, one that is planned and one that is not planned. And the planning part usually comes in where the veterinarian and an owner start to have conversations about quality of life for a horse. Mm-hmm. And these scenarios come into play generally with, things like severe arthritis or cancers or other painful conditions that happen slowly. Medical issues that happen slowly. And so you and your veterinarian can come together with a plan. I know for me in the past, it's been really helpful for me to start tracking in those type of scenarios, how many good days my horse is having and how many bad days, and really trying to get ahead of the process of figuring out
how bad are the bad days and how good are the good days, right?
Yeah.
Are the good days just slightly better than one of the bad days, but is it really a good day or not?
Right.
And things to look for is, how are they moving? Mm-hmm. Are they able to get up and down themselves without intervention easily? Right. And that doesn't mean that if they take a little bit extra time, especially in the earlier cold mornings or something, and they just take a little bit extra time to get up or down, that comes with arthritis. More of the senior horses or horses that have some form of arthritis for some reason outside of being older. Their eating habits, their weight.
Yes. Eating habits, weight, and then also remember to their overall demeanor. Mm-hmm. Does my horse seem sullen? Do they appear sad?
Are they with if they're in pasture or next to other horses, are they more with the horses or more off to themselves? Or more horses are herd animals. They're by nature wanting to be with others. Even the grumpy, sassy ones that like to kick at everybody and bite them or whatever, they still, and are they being off on their own?
Yeah. And also remember, it's okay to ask your veterinarian, your barn manager, and your friends for their thoughts too. Because sometimes when you're in the trenches staring at your own horse all the time, it's really hard to see the forest through the trees. And it is helpful, I find, at least to have a second opinion. And that is where you call out your vet, you have a discussion, and if your vet can give you all the scenarios and all the options. Are there different treatments that can help your horse, or are there not? What is the worst case scenario here? Let's say you have a cancer that's growing into the bone. Well, you know that at some point with something like that, it's going to be catastrophic. And so at that point, generally you and your vet can come up with signs and symptoms that you're looking for to then schedule a day.
Mhm.
And some barns will let you euthanize on the property, some will not. I prefer to let horses be euthanized on our property. There's been a
And
lot
we
of
have enough space
studies.
to be able to do that. Some
Yeah,
birds just don't have the space
they
to be able
don't.
to.
No, they don't.
And this is, of course, if you're at a barn or managing one or something else. If you're in your own property, it might be a little bit different. But
Yes.
again,
Yes.
think about the spacing that you have, other animals that you may have, because the stuff drips out a little bit. It gets onto other stuff. You want to keep that area clear for a bit.
Yes.
To avoid anyone else getting into
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
Especially if there's any leakage of blood. Dogs are dogs. They're gonna be like, delicious.
Yeah, gosh, they're gross. So they have also done studies that horses that get to observe their friends passing away get over the grief faster. And I think it's because they are provided with a sense of closure. They don't have to wonder why their friend didn't come back. And so if you have a scenario where you can euthanize the horse on somewhere that's soft, right? Try not to, do it on a dirt road. Try to do it somewhere soft on grass where their friends can observe and see what is happening. The research says that it is better for the animals that remain. But that is up to, of course, you and your veterinarian. You guys will come up with a plan. And this is what veterinarians want to do for people. They want to be a part of the helping process if you have a good vet.
And particularly for elderly horses. And this can apply to ones that are elderly but have some sort of issue or something where this might be coming up. But particularly for elderly horses, euthanasia is a kindness and a dignity that we can give to them. It is exceedingly rare for horses to just die of old age and not be in a lot of pain.
Yeah.
And not be super uncomfortable, because in reality, the old age is not actually old age. It is colic. It is choking. It is something else that's actually contributing to the death of the animal outside of just peacefully passing away. Yeah. It's exceedingly rare for them to actually just peacefully pass away. It is a kindness and a dignity and part of our responsibility as stewards of these animals.
And remember, because they are prey animals, they are going to try to hide everything that they can. So
when you are seeing these signs and seeing these things, just know that it's more is happening than what we're able to actually see and determine.
Yeah. So as far as the euthanasia process goes, because one of the reasons that I find that this is an important topic to discuss is I have helped a lot of people who have never put down an animal before kind of prepare themselves for what the process is like, so that I can try to make a very difficult situation a little bit easier. And so there are several ways to put down a horse, okay? Some people have to do it with a gunshot. I've never done that, but that is a viable situation, especially in an emergency.
And if you have to do something like that, or not if you have to, but it can come up, like you said, in emergency. A lot of times more an emergency than not. Look up how to do that.
There are diagrams online.
It's very particular because it's not as straightforward as you might think of just between the eyes or something. It's really not.
No.
And if you do it in the incorrect place, you are not giving a swift death.
No.
And it's going to be torture for the animals. So make sure, look that up, have it in hand, memorizing everything. So if you're ever in a situation where that needs to happen, you already know it, because if you're in that situation, adrenaline, everything's going to be heightened, emotions are going to be heightened. It's going to be a lot more difficult. And if you don't know how, then it's going to make things worse.
Yes.
And be really uncomfortable. And if you are in a situation like that and you happen to have somebody else with you, and they know how, or can at least follow instructions on how,
Mhm.
and you don't feel comfortable enough, or you're not steady enough, don't.
No.
If you
No.
can,
Yeah.
if you can, like,
Yeah.
and when it's in a situation that emergence and everything else, sometimes we just have to, buck up, do what we need to. But,
Mhm.
if you have
Mhm.
some form of option,
Yeah. So the second way is how we have always done it at our barn, and I'll go through that process. Generally, my vet shows up, and she asks me and the owner. I think I've been there for almost every euthanasia, or attempted to be. Where we would like this done, where would be the least stressful on the horse, and it's generally, like I said, a soft place. We kind of let the horse go over there, relax. For us, we're fortunate and we have grass. So we usually do this on the grass. We let them eat the grass. And this is where things can start to vary. So for me, I generally don't have the owners handle the horse during the process, because horses can go down rather swiftly and severely. And you kind of, if you haven't seen it before, when they lay down, there's you kind of have to know how to help the horse down. And I'm not saying you shouldn't do it yourself, but if you have somebody and you want somebody to be there that has been through that process, that can be very helpful for people. And so there's generally two people involved for us. There's one at the head and one at the tail. My veterinarian usually likes to be at the tail, and she puts me at the head. So some veterinarians give a sedation first, so to help them relax. And that's what our veterinarian does. She gives a sedation. She lets it sit in for a few minutes, lets the horse take a nice deep breath. Then she comes with the euthanasia, and it's generally a solution that's pretty bright pink in color. And I will tell you, if you do have a problem with large needles, it is a large needle. That is something possibly to prepare yourself for if you do have a needle issue.
Mm-hmm.
Most horses do go down really, really quietly. But it is helpful, like I said, for us, there's a way that you turn the head or you relax the horse down, and you work in unison with your veterinarian to be able to do this, to make the process as peaceful as it can be for both the horse and the owner. And like I said, nothing wrong with the owner doing it as well. But it is kind of helpful maybe to know that this can happen. So once the horse goes down and they're quiet, then I usually have the owner come around the front, out of the way of the legs, because sometimes the legs can have a response from the euthanasia drug where they start twitching, and we don't want anybody to get hurt. So we stay around the back of the horse when they're quiet. I will tell people that at this time, the veterinarian will start checking for the reflexes and impulses. They'll start listening for the heart to see where the heart is at. They'll do a reflex test on the eye. And for owners, I want you to remember that the last sense to go is hearing. They can hear you. So I try to encourage people to keep talking. Tell them that everything that they've ever meant to you.
Let them feel you.
Yeah.
Let them feel your sorrow and your love.
Yeah, they know. Yeah.
And
so
for your owners, particularly if you can plan it out, think about what is the best way for you to grieve and what you need. Some people want a lot of people around them. They want a lot of touch and contact. For me personally, I am the type, I don't necessarily need to be alone, but I do not want talking. I don't want noise. I want it quiet. I don't like a lot of contact. So for me, like when I lost my foal, and it was really hard because I didn't get the chance to grieve right away because I had to take care of my mare and do some other stuff. So, and obviously when I lost my foal and everything, it wasn't euthanasia. She died on her own just as she was being born and everything. It's a little bit different, but within the realm of losing horses or animals and the death of them, um, give yourself the chance to grieve when you can. It doesn't always come right away for everyone, and that's okay.
Sometimes
But
it
when you
happens
have
over
it,
weeks.
when you get the grief and everything, allow yourself to have that. Especially when you have these animals for 10, 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and then, so you go through this process, and then after you put them down, depending on where you live, you have different options with the body, right? Here, our options, we can't bury here. Our water table is 6 inches, and it literally is 6 inches. You dig down and the water comes up. So we can't bury on our property. And there's actually a county ordinance about burying, probably for this reason. So we have the option to either have the animal hauled away or to have them cremated. As I don't have any judgment on what somebody chooses to do there. That is very personal as well. And for me, I tell owners that they can be there for that part because no matter what, the body does have to be taken away, or I can deal with it if they don't want to watch that, because that for some people is not the most glorious part of things. So I am willing to do that for people, and I know you are too. That's where maybe if you want support, it can be helpful, but like Beck just said, everything is individual for a person.
And it can be individual at different times too. It can change for you at different times, right? Gosh. Like she said, it could be like in the midst of it, in the action of the euthanasia, in the pickup and everything, you want more support, and then later you want to be alone. Mm-hmm. Or however it goes, right? Everyone's different, and each moment might be different.
Yeah. I know another thing I try to do around here is if I have it planned, I try to tell people at the barn that I have this time planned so that if they don't want to be present, for me, obviously, if I'm an owner and I don't want somebody to be present, then I can ask other people not to come to the barn at that time too. But then I also try to put it out there to where somebody doesn't drive in and get shocked with a horse getting put down too. So they can choose not to be there if I can during that time frame of being respectful to everybody else, because everybody deals with this differently. Grief is very complex, and not one person deals with it the same. So it's really important, like she said, I'm really glad you brought this up, that you allow the individuals to have the space and the grace to handle it how they choose, as long as it's humane.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, as long as it's healthy. Yeah.
And I guess to you, the people watching this, you might want to help somebody and support them and everything. You can ask what they might need. Mm-hmm. They may not have an answer though.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Just know that if they don't have one, just be like, okay. And then you can always, just kind of look and say like, hey, I'm going to do this thing for you while you just kind of just sit there, whatever. Or I'll just sit here and just be here. Mm-hmm. Again, like I said, some people want to talk, some people want noise, some people want distraction, some people don't. So it just varies.
Yep. Yeah. So thank you for joining us. Sorry, it's a depressing topic, but I do feel that it's good for people that have never gone through it or are looking for different ways to support people that might be going through it. I think it's a topic that not enough people talk about.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for joining us.